Hey guys, this is my own personal AR-15 that I want to talk about. It's got a lot of Franken parts that I've designed and kind of put on here. So it's going to be a little disjointed when I talk about everything, but we'll get to that. So I'm going to show that it's free and clear so I can move this around and show you guys what's going on. So here we go. The bolt is back. We're going to look down. Chamber visually physically is empty. All right, I'm gonna rotate this back around. And in previous videos, on all my pistol videos, I have shown that a safe direction is in that way, but I've also now cleared it so a safe direction is that way. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop the bolt, and then we're going to pull the trigger in the new safe direction. So on fire, there we go. So this is it. We are now free and clear. We're going to talk about it a little bit. So I'm going to talk about the most apparent things first that you can visually see from this side of the firearm, and then we'll rotate it and I'll show you some of the stuff on the back. The very first thing you're going to see is that I have spray painted it. I'm a big believer in spray painting AR-15s or Cerakoting them, changing them from the solid black color that you see on most standard AR-15s. The reason why this is you want to be able to break up the pattern for it laying against your body. And so just having a slightly different pattern might not allow somebody looking at a distance to know that this is what they're looking at. They're looking at an armed person. So that's not a huge thing if you're just taking this for range, but if you're going to use it for self-defense, the last thing you want is somebody who sees you as a threat to see a black outline and now they really see you as a threat. So this is good. It's not going to be super camouflaged. It's not like somebody looking at you isn't going to immediately see that you have a firearm. Just at a pretty long range looking at you, it's going to obscure that a little bit. So again, optic wise here, you're going to see that I haven't painted it. There's still black, but what I did do is I took the netting that I used to paint it and I wrapped it around here and here. And then I took some kind of dirtied green brown medical tape and wrapped it around there. So I think it's got overall pretty good obscuration. You wouldn't be able to tell from just like this black portion right here that this is an optic when you're not looking at another black firearm shaped image. So now that we've gotten just the overall look out of the way, spray paint, by the way, you'll see that it does wear, but I painted this like 4 years ago and the only wear points are where it's heavily used. And I kind of like that. It shows that I actually go to the range with this. I use it. It's not just sitting in my safe 24/7. This is something that I practice with. So I do think you can spray paint it and not destroy your firearm, and it's going to look good for a while. You don't need to repaint it. But if I do need to do something to this, if I needed to repaint it, you just take it back outside, cover up the parts that you don't want painted, and spray it again, and it'll look just fine. It'll cover up fine here. There's no like physical feeling to that. It just rubbed off. This was a really thin paint coat to begin with. So we're going to jump up to the optic. This is, if you don't have an optic, if you get into the AR-15 world and you don't have an optic, this is the first upgrade that I advise you getting, is some sort of aiming device, preferably one that you're comfortable with. I went with an LPVO. I've gone through multiple iterations of what has been up here. I've had red dots. I've had actual scopes. This is what I advise. An LPVO gives you the best of both worlds. It gives you a 1x optic with a very large field of view. This back ring here it's about that big. So you actually can just, from back here, see through it like a window. You're going to be shooting with both eyes open anyways, but for some reason when you're looking through this on 1x, this feels like the real world and your other eye feels like a little fake. This like gives you more visual clarity for some reason. So I advise using an LPVO. Red dot's fine, scope is fine, whatever you want to do, but holographic sight's also good. Holographic sights have the downside of having a low battery life, so that's why I don't advise for new shooters. People that are really going to get into this world, they're really good. They're really good at what they do. So I have a mounted red dot up top here. It is a Creative XP red dot 1x. It is not a good optic. This is like $20 or $30 online. I'm going to replace this with a Romeo X, I believe, off of my old concealed carry firearm. I think that if you do have a variable or magnified scope of some sort, it's nice to have this piggybacked red dot so that you can jump back to a 1x perspective if you need to. It is important to know that if you have this zeroed properly, that you also zero this, and it's going to be slightly different because it's elevated, so it's going to have a different drop rate because of your axis over bore. But you can figure that out. Zero this to a distance that is close because that's what you're going to be using it for. You're not going to be shooting this out to 200 yards. That's what this is for. So this is going to be like a 20, 30 yard zero, whatever you actually decide is good. You might even go down as far as like a 7-yard zero if you want really accurate shots at close range. So I think the LPVO piggy-backed red dot system is very good. We're going to jump down here. Another upgrade that I highly recommend to new shooters is a new charging handle. This is a Radian Raptor's suppressor style charging handle, and I'll talk about the suppressor stuff last in this portion, but the Radian Raptor is what I consider the gold standard of charging handles for AR-15s. That having been said, they're not like Mercedes or like super high-end Ferrari. They are just what I consider the gold standard for the price. You are paying about $100 for a charging handle that's not going to jam up on you. It's going to slide really clear. It's ambidextrous. The fins stick out to both sides, not in like an obnoxious, obtrusive way, but enough that you can see them. And because they're ambidextrous, you can pull either side, and you can see the locking mechanism right there. Just by pulling one side, unlocks. And if I come and pull the other side, it also unlocks. So this portion right here is the locking system that keeps it forward. Really easy to use, highly recommend. We're going to talk about the suppressor portion. So as you can see, I have a suppressor sitting here. This is my SureFire SB2. I always knew when I purchased this firearm that I was going to get a suppressor of some sort. So when I did upgrade my charging handle, I got one that had a gas blowback that blows some of the gas away from your face. The problem with a suppressor on a firearm is that there's nowhere for the gas to go anymore because it gets trapped in here in these baffles. And then that sends the gas back through the system itself, out the charging handle port, and right into your eye. With this, it redirects the gas so it's not hitting your eye. And that's important because when it hits your eye, it's going to obscure your vision and it's going to make it harder to shoot. What is going to happen, however, no matter what, is you are going to smell the gas coming out of the back of the system. A lot of people don't like the way it smells. I don't mind. It's not a big deal. It's not like I'm out here shooting this thing 10,000 rounds with my suppressor. I usually practice with the suppressor about 1/10 of the time that I'm using this firearm. Mostly because I want to keep the shelf life of this up. It's not going to die anytime soon. This is rated to, I think, 50,000 rounds or more. So this is going to be just fine. But I also just would prefer that it exist for the rest of my life due to the fact that you have to pay a tax stamp to get these, and I don't want to jump through those hoops at the moment. So that's the charging handle. We're going to drop down here. The bolt carrier group is still stock from what I got it. It's the old nitride stock stock bolt carrier group. I am going to upgrade it at some point to a nickel boron bolt carrier. I haven't decided what company I'm going to use yet, but nickel boron has shown to me to be easier to clean. It's got a nice smooth surface that gets kind of lubricated by the carbon as you're shooting it. So it also comes back and goes forward and engages the chamber more cleanly, I think. You're not really going to notice that, though. What you're going to notice is that it's easier to clean. It's much better when you're done at the range and everything's soaked in carbon to just take a wipe and be like, it's clean. I like that. So this bolt carrier, nothing wrong with it. Just I am going to upgrade it at some point. So we're going to drop down here. I didn't change most of these features. So the safety and the bolt carrier group latch are stock. We're down to the trigger now. So the trigger is an internal drop-in trigger that has been upgraded. It's a Rise Armament 2.5 pound trigger. It's a single stage. I believe firmly in AR-15 single stage triggers. I don't think you really need a double stage trigger unless you're shooting long range. And as I've said before, I don't think that the AR-15 system is a long range system. It's more a medium to short range. So a Rise Armament drop-in trigger. It has anti-walk pins. They just drop into the lower and then you put the pins in, and as long as everything's matched up correctly with safety and stuff, this trigger is just good to go. Easy to install, really good to shoot. You can shoot this rapidly. You're not going to accidentally pull it. It is 2.5 pounds, but you're not going to like have your finger in the trigger well and accidentally tap it and pull it. Very good. So we're down to here. This is a Magpul grip. I am going to talk about this and this at the same time since they're essentially the same thing. This is a Magpul vertical grip. They are pretty basic. Any company will do on these. I think as long as you have a vertical grip and as long as you have a pistol grip, you are going to do fine. I'm not a big believer in the pistol grip is going to change the way you shoot. It's going to change your life. I think that's a bad way of thinking. Your stability comes from your buttstock pressed into your shoulder and just the grip that you have around the front of the firearm. And any vertical grip will allow you to get that C-clamp grip that you're looking for, stabilizing the back of your hand. So Magpul makes a pretty good one. It's lightweight, hollow. This does have a feature that I like. It has a little battery compartment here, so you can take this out, batteries for your optics or an Allen wrench even if you have parts that you need to like tighten and loosen constantly. So that's good. We're going to jump all the way to the back of the firearm for a second because we are talking about Magpul. I also have a Magpul MOE SL buttstock. Again, I don't think that there is a big change in what buttstock you use. There might be some fancy ones out there that reduce the recoil a little bit, make it really smooth for shooting if what you're going for is like some crazy AR-15 accuracy competition. This is the base model. You can get it at pretty much any firearms or sporting goods store. It has a QD mount. I'll show. QD mount, 2 sling positions. This is adjustable by flipping this up and then pulling back or forward. I've got it where I like it, so I'm not going to do that. You can see I've used it quite a lot. The paint's come off where I get my cheek weld. This is perfectly good. It is a little heavier than some of the lighter weight options. So if you're worried about weight, you might want to get something a little lighter, but Magpul has those as well. You can get some of the more skeletonized buttstocks. I wanted a little more durability. I wanted to be able to bang it around and know that it was going to stay on. So that one's pretty good. I don't think that it's going to get damaged anytime soon. Internals of the buffer tube. So the internals of the buffer tube, my spring and my buffer weight are stock from the Sport 2, so they have not been changed out. Again, big believer in small upgrades, don't really make a difference. I don't think that your spring being upgraded is going to change your recoil all that much. This is a rifle system. If it's a handgun, all day long you're going to want to change the recoil spring. But this is mounted in so many different ways to your body that your recoil just isn't going to be affected by the small bolt carrier group flying back and flying forward. So there are upgrades for that. If you want, you can get like threaded recoil springs. You can get flat recoil springs. There's even the silent captured recoil springs. I know people like that because it doesn't create a sound. Here's my thought on that. So as you're firing a firearm, you can hear the recoil spring. If that's distracting you from making accurate shots, you've got bigger problems because you have a lethal device in your hand aimed down range. and you are trying to make quick and accurate shots. So if the spring is distracting you while you have a lethal device in your hands, you need to focus more on what you're doing rather than what this is doing. So I don't think having a silent spring is going to make you a better shooter. You just need to worry about shooting accurately while you have this in your hands. You need to pay attention to what you're doing. You need to focus on the actual firearm and the mechanics that you are trying to make the firearm shoot better. But you know, if you really need it, there are options out there for you. So we're going to slide all the way to the front here. So this is a SureFire WarComp tri-prong compensator. It is mainly a flash hider. It is another device that I bought prior to buying my suppressor because I knew I was going to get my suppressor. So this WarComp device here is a tri-prong flash hider, but it also has compensated ports here. And you can see that they are on the top and they are slightly to the right. And this is because I'm a right-handed shooter and I wanted the gas to go up and to the right to mitigate some of the recoil and pull me down and left when I'm shooting. There's not a lot of recoil on an AR-15, but there is enough that having that small assist helps a little bit for really fast shots. The main reason I have this, again, though, is because I have this suppressor. It is the QD mounting system for this suppressor. I'm not allowed to show you putting it on, but it goes on there, and you twist the barrel nut here. That's what I'm going to call it. But you twist this, and it locks on. And once it's on there, it's going to stay on. It latches quite well. SureFire's made a very good design, but it twists, and once it's on, you've got this little button right here because it locks once it's in this position. You press that button and it allows you to twist again. So it comes off easily. The only time it won't come off easily is when it does a thing called carbon locking. Carbon locking is a common thing with suppressors that they don't really tell you about when you're getting into the suppressor world, but you'll put it on the barrel, you'll fire off 100 or so rounds playing around with it, and then you'll realize at the end of the day when you want to take your firearm home and you want to take your suppressor off, that the suppressor is not coming off. You'll take the, you'll turn the swivel, and it's still just locked on there. And that's called carbon locking. The gases that do make it out to the front and get captured in the system build up, and some of that has carbon in it, and it solidifies and basically like welds your suppressor onto the end of your firearm. You can see here I've got some green, like cobalt colored carbon locking. And so the manual of arms for this that SureFire came up with is that you just release the quick device and then you just shoot one more round through it, and the gas comes out the end of the barrel, gets captured in the system. The round goes so fast that it is leaving the gas behind it. So the round leaves the suppressor and it doesn't hit any of the baffles or anything. It's not going to be an issue. But as the gas builds up in the suppressor from the bullet leaving the baffle system, this flies off the end of your barrel. So it breaks up the carbon lock with heat and pressure and shoots that 100, not really 100, shoots it like 10 yards out in front of your barrel. Due to the weight. And that was one of the things that I was thinking about when I got this one. I wanted a very durable suppressor because you don't want to have to go buy another one. At the time that I bought this, wait times were like 90 days, and that was considered fast because there had been people that had to wait up to 2 years to get suppressor tax stamp approved. So I wanted this to last. I didn't want to have to go through another 90 days. Now we're down to like 2 days on those wait lists. You can get them literally next day as long as you pass your background checks and you pass your tax stamp. So this is super durable. It's got like a 50,000 round lifespan. They've been known to go for much longer. They're probably one of the most highly tested suppressors on the market due to the fact that they were initially issued to like special forces, and special forces used a bunch of SureFire devices at that point. So it's not the most advanced suppressor on the market. They now have things called like blow pass-through suppressors, where the gas goes out the front of the barrel. and it's all mitigated so you still can't see it. It still does what it needs to. A lot of people have a misconception about these, by the way. They'll call them silencers. This is a suppressor. What it does is it suppresses the gas. It's not suppressing the noise, it suppresses the gas. So it does deaden the noise because, again, the noise is created by the gas and by the bullet going out the barrel, but it's capturing the gas. This is designed to reduce muzzle flash. It is much better at reducing muzzle flash than a flash hider, and that's what it's for. It gives you a softer shooting experience. The muzzle rise isn't gonna happen as much with this. It is very pleasant to shoot. It will deaden the noise a little bit, but this particular suppressor on this firearm, it's still not hearing safe. You can't shoot this without hearing protection. It is a flash suppressor for all practical purposes. That's what you should think of it as. Okay, so we've talked about the work comp. We've talked about the suppressor way too much. We're going to jump all the way over to the other side of this rifle. You can see here that I have a Streamlight weapon light. I have kept the cap on here, and this is to reduce the flash. If some light were to be aimed at me, I don't want it reflecting off the lens. So currently you wouldn't be able to use this. I'm going to pop it off so we can show you. The weapon light is attached to a pressure pad. This pressure pad has a push feature, so you can just press down on it. That produces a light. It also has a button, so you can press down on it, click, produces the light. And then lastly, like most Streamlight products, you can double click it, and that gives you a strobe feature. So I really like this. It is right above where my hand would C-clamp the vertical grip, and then I wrap around there. You're not putting any pressure on it with a good grip, so it's not going to be pressed on accident, but if you do decide to, you just press down and you've suddenly got it. Or you can go up here, you can change your grip entirely, put it up here, and avoid the light if you're worried about pressing it. That's pretty basic. It attaches to a M-lock system that I've put in here, so you need to attach a rail to the side if you don't already have, and then it all just screws in. We're going to go up here. This is my canted front iron sight. I have a back iron sight that is also canted. These are cheapo metal iron sights that you can get on most sites. I think I paid $20 or $30 for them, but they are basically just A2 irons that have been mounted to the side. I've tested them pretty thoroughly. They're not loose. They're pretty durable. Like you're not going to damage these. If I dropped this on this piece, it's not going to break. It has windage and range knobs, I guess. But you can adjust what they're aimed at. I currently have it set at about 100 yards. They're pretty accurate. I highly advise having some sort of non-optic aiming system on your rifle. I know that there's a ton of people out there that will put an optic on their rifle and never use their irons a day in their life afterwards, but it is a system you should get used to using. If your battery dies, or if you've lost the ability to use it, like via a crack or a damage, you can see they are mounted above the rifle and they are weaker than the metal used in the frame. So if you were to drop this and it fell upside down, hit the optic, you would damage it beyond use. So irons, I think, are good. They have proven the test of time to be accurate, useful. They shoot out to a pretty decent range. Marines, I think, have to qualify at 300 yards or more, and you're not going to miss close range with irons either. So at point blank range, you're still going to hit with these. We're going to talk about the last thing here. This is a sling. This is a Sherman Edgar sling. It has been on here for about 2 years. No, probably 3 years. But what's nice about this sling is it has this pull tab here. It used to be full plastic. The plastic broke on this part right here, so I had to attach it with twine. I'm going to probably upgrade that to something more durable down the line. But What you can do with this is you can pull it, and it reduces via this system right here the length of your sling. So when you've got this up over your shoulder and your system, what I like to use the sling for is you've got your points of contact. Your hand is on the pistol grip, your other hand is up here on the foregrip and the vertical grip, and your buttstock is pressed into your shoulder. This creates a fourth point of contact on the left side of your body. As you can see, when it tightens, this is pretty stable. So a fourth point of contact pulling to the left, when you're shooting, it's going to want to go up and to the right, which is mitigated a little bit by the compensator, but having this down and to the left and tightened, and you can even like wrap your hand around it if you don't have something like this Sherman Edgar sling that you can tighten up. So there's ways to actually utilize your sling, like tightening it, gripping it. I think in the Vietnam War, people were using slings and they were just wrapping them fully around like multiple times to get a stable shooting platform. So that's a technique that people will use. But I think that's a pretty good summary of like what you want out of a sling. It's not just a device to hold around your body so that you can have this pressed up against your body free of your hands. There are some things to think about when purchasing a sling. This is what you call a 2-point sling. It attaches in the front, attaches in the back. I like 2-point slings. There are 3-point and 1-point. 1-point is usually just attaching to the back of your buttstock and it hangs loose on one piece. I don't like that because if you are not holding the rifle with your hands, it can fly forward and come back and hit you. And as a dude, you probably don't want that to happen. 3-point slings are a little more complicated. They have like a system near your chest that you can detach, and then you can turn them into 2 points, you can turn them into 1 points, but they have a kind of that system that I'm talking about where it mounts up to the left side, so you actually get like that other built-in stable platform without you having any sort of adjustment piece. So 3 points are kind of neat. I don't like them. I like 2 points because you can do the same thing with a 2-point that you can with a 1-point. So this is it. This is the rifle that if I needed to, I would grab in an emergency. Works great, shoots great. I've had little to no issue with it. I've modified it beyond all recognition. The gas block had to be swapped out because it had an A2 front sight gas port. So this has also been swapped out. So the gas port here is a low profile adjustable gas block. I haven't needed to adjust it. The setting that it came on worked perfectly fine for just regular shooting and suppressor shooting, but if I needed to get more accurate shots or if I needed to change up how the ejection pattern on the rifle worked, I could adjust the gas block and that would do that. So anyways, if you have any questions about this, you have any questions about painting the rifle or attaching a part or doing anything like that, leave a comment. I'll respond. Thanks for watching.